Hi there. My name is Matt Hames, and I'm the Associate Vice President for Digital and Social Strategy at 3 Enrollment Marketing. Today, I'm here to talk to you about voice assistants and how they might change the student journey. So let's get started. It's been a banner year already for voice assistants. Google recently had a Google I/O where they announced a whole bunch of different voice assistants on here. And Meta has announced a bunch of different voice assistant modifications to the Ray-Ban sunglasses, the Meta Ray-Ban sunglasses. There's real-time translation. So if you're standing in front of somebody wearing these glasses, and somebody starts talking to you, then you can hear the translation in real time. Amount of things that you can start to do on these glasses are insane. You can say, hey, Meta, tell me what I'm looking at. It takes a picture, it analyzes the picture, and it tells you what you're looking at. It's not great. There's some hallucination, but it's pretty cool. And so think about that for a visit this summer. If somebody is wearing these Meta glasses, and they start to ask about your institution, that's an interesting shift in how we think about asking about an institution, right? So the way that the internet worked is Google for about 20 years has been the plumbing of the internet. I asked an AI to make this picture, said, give me a picture of Google and plumbing, and it gave me goggle and plumbing, which is interesting. Anyway, Google has been the plumbing of the internet. It really has. Our .edus are set up to win searches for the institution by name. And oh boy, do they do that. I've had the opportunity to look at a lot of different institutions, Google Analytics, and I can tell you that this is pretty typical of the data that we're seeing. So what we see mostly is that organic search drives new users to the .edu. That's how it's worked, right? Google was the plumbing of the internet. And so it plumbed away. It drove new users to the .edu. But you know what? Things change. We have so many different voice assistants. Where we're at right now with voice assistants, you're going to start to ask, how are we going to access an AI assistant? Are we going to access an AI assistant with glasses coming from Meta, coming from Amazon, coming from Google, coming from Apple, possibly, and coming from OpenAI, another kind of device? We're not even sure what that is. How are we going to access a Google Assistant? This is maybe one of the coolest things that you'll see, and that is like the ability to just ask. I made a video of just looking at your camera and looking at your phone and asking your phone a bunch of conversations about an institution. And it felt like I was talking to an admissions counselor. That's different. And that is way more interesting than surfing through an online brochure on the enrollment pages of the .edu, right? So Alexa Plus is coming. There's millions of devices in people's homes. If you can just turn to your device and say, Alexa, here's what I'm looking for in an institution. Can you spit out some institutions in my state or in America that fit my criteria? And it will start spitting out those institutions. So how will we access an AI assistant? I think that's the biggest question, right? Will we? I don't know. If you've tried the sunglasses, or if you've tried Gemini or Meta Voice or ChatGPT Voice, you know that they're very, very interesting. They hallucinate a little bit, and sometimes they just get the information from Wikipedia, but they're very, very interesting. And so I want to give you 3 takeaways. Will our behavior change? 2025 is the year where we're going to see if our behavior changes. Will it change? I don't know. There's a lot of pressure, and there's going to be a lot of marketing in this year to try to generate that change. If you go to Google right now, the I'm feeling lucky button has been replaced with an AI overview button. So it's the end of the era. It's the end of an era for the I'm feeling lucky. Luck now is an AI overview. Will we embrace that? I don't know. That's a good question. Will our behavior change? A lot of the big tech companies are betting that they can change our behavior. So if it does, how will that impact higher ed? If our behavior does change, how will that impact higher ed? Remember the graph to the .edu? Well, that's the change. That's a fundamental change. If new users do not go to your .edu in the same number, that is the place where they can do the transactions like schedule a tour, apply. If you use Google's AI assistant and you say, how do I apply? Eventually it's going to say, go to the website. It doesn't drive you to it with a blue link, but it says, go to the website. We could get to a point where it starts to go to the website for you. We are not far away from a place where they can start the application for you. They're called AI agents. You can call them bots if you want to, but they are bots being directed by a person. How will it impact higher ed? We don't know. Generally, we don't know because we don't know if this behavior is going to change. But if it does, it's going to impact higher ed. You're just going to see a cliff. You're going to see a drop in traffic to your .edu from organic search. That's the fundamental shift. So if less people are going to your .edu, if less prospective students, new students are going to your .edu, then where are they going? That's the really big question, right? So in the roadmaps that I give right now, I talk about this specifically. I talk about the cliff, the search cliff. I'm talking about a search cliff that is very really possible this year. And that search cliff is less people using Google to find out about your institution. So we're talking about newly aware students who start to think about an institution. And what they typically have done for the last 20 to 25 years is they have gone to Google and they've typed in your institution into Google. You see it in the data. You can see it in the past. It has always been this case. And will it always be this case? I'm here to tell you, maybe not, right? So if this changes, then a very real change in the way that an institution makes content is demanded. There needs to be a change in the way that we make content. There needs to be a fundamental shift in how we think about the websites where we make content. That shift is not happening. I talk to a lot of institutions and I talk to them about consolidating, thinking about the times in the enrollment cycle where content matters the most. I spend 2 hours, or I recently spent a day at an institution talking to them about this. And I think this shift is massive. And I think it's important for us to get ahead of this shift. If we don't get ahead of this shift, we are going to be left behind by AI assistants that talk about our institution behind our backs. So we all have questions. What are some of yours? Please leave them in the comments below. Leave them in the comments of this. Contact me. Let's talk about this. I really do think that higher education is at a very real endpoint right now. And I'd like to talk through how we can get through this possible AI assistant world that we're going to live in. It's not all bad news. It's not all great news, but it's not all bad news. I think there are answers on how we can make content that will surface by these AI assistants. So anyway, step one, probably download some of these and start talking to an AI assistant about your institution. Step two, contact me. Let's talk. I have a bunch of ideas. We can help at 3 Enrollment Marketing. Step three, we succeed together. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging with me this time. We're still thinking all this through, but we're moving forward and we hope to move forward with you as well. We'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.